Hello, everybody, and welcome to Voices of the Goddess podcast, where we empower, inspire, and uplift women to be the goddesses they were meant to be. I'm your co-host, Julietta, also known as the Magical PT. I own Body and Soul PT here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and they call me the Magical PT because my work does not resemble traditional physical therapy work. And I have a very holistic alternative approach. And I get asked the question, are you working with energy? Yes, of course I'm working with energy because everything is energy. We're all working with energy all the time. But when you do it with intention and direction, it's obviously a more powerful tool than when you're doing it willy-nilly and with no awareness. So in addition to helping people heal, I also am an artist and I make healing jewelry and art. And since we don't have our green screens, I actually have some of my artwork behind me, my ohms there. And ohms are available to purchase. Talking about energy, ohm is energy, the energy of everything that ever was, is, and will be. And enough about me. Tell us about you, Allison.
Well, my name is Allison Mancini. I'm also coming to y'all from here in South. I just said y'all. I just did it. We were just talking. My guest and I were just talking about the Southern accent. It pops up once in a blue moon being down here. And I'm from Michigan originally, so it doesn't even make sense. But I'm here in sunny Fort Lauderdale, Florida, along with Julietta. We are not too far from one another, but I am a mom to two. I have a 25-year-old, a 22-year-old, been married to my husband for almost 29 years. And I am also the operations and human resources director for a company called the Goal Digger Girl, goal as in GOAL. And we help women show up authentically on social media and help women build their businesses, whatever that looks like for them. And I love what I do because I am also very into holistic nutrition. I'm working through a functional nutrition course right now. I'm a big believer in using, much like Julietta uses energy, I believe very much in using food, and it really is healing for us if we're eating the right things. And so
food is energy too.
It is energy. Yeah. It's the energy that drives our cells. So let's put it, that's what I always tell people that, like, think about that. If that's what you're putting in your body, that's the muck you're using to drive your cells. Like, you can't expect it to do much good. So anyways, that's a whole nother, I could go off on a tangent about that. But I love supporting the staff at the Gold Digger Girl. I get to support all of our clients, which is awesome. And then I'm also a mom to two dogs, one that's deciding to scratch at the bottom of his crate right this exact second. So let me hopefully introduce our sponsor before he starts. No. Okay, Murphy. Sorry.
He's just saying, pay attention. This sponsor is really amazing.
Okay. All right. So let's do this. So our sponsor this month, High Vibrations Energy Healing, offers Reiki, meditation, and Kundalini yoga to heal emotional and physical pain and bring one into alignment with their true self. Reiki and Kundalini yoga is a powerful combination that can be used to heal subconscious patterns, strengthen the nervous system, activate the neutral mind, and bring one to higher levels of consciousness. You can visit at highvibrationsnow.com to learn more and book a Reiki session, participate in a cosmic Kundalini and Reiki healing circle, or register for an upcoming Kundalini yoga class. And Rebecca Schaefer is the owner, and she is a Reiki master and Kundalini yoga teacher. She has also been a guest on our podcast. I need to figure out which episode she was so I can refer to that, but she's incredible. And I know, Julietta, you've had great experience with her.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure, because she always does her Reiki circles, well, one of them around the full moon. And since
I think
the full moon is today.
I saw it last night. It was up last night. I was like, oh, it's a full moon already.
I'm pretty sure today is the official full moon. It looks
Okay.
pretty full moon the day before, the day after, but I think the official full moon is today. My astrology friends will correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, check Rebecca out. She is awesome. So I'm in the middle, and I'm gonna go all out on ConMariing my life. Is that how you say it? ConMari, how do they say it?
ConMari. Are you
ConMari.
really? Are you really going to that? You're going to that level.
Oh, I am so doing it.
I'm not completely convinced yet, but maybe you'll convince me.
So I have two things I want to talk about. So I will talk about one. I'll talk about just the general here. Next show, we'll talk about the one detail I want to talk about that's cracking me up. But I bought a house and moved 4 years ago. I switched my business. So I packed up and moved 2 years ago. Both of those moves involved some massive purging. And as you know, I live in a small house, and my small house is at extreme occupancy right now, which is all good. I'm good with that, but I've been sitting in my house going, stuff needs to go. There's just stuff I don't need here. Like, stuff needs to go. And I don't remember who. Somebody told me, like, just for sure, check out ConMari. Like, it will support you. And so I've been reading the book. I'm not completely through it yet, but just that whole attaching to, does this bring joy to my life? It just makes it so easy. And I've already given away things that I didn't know I could give away. And it feels so damn good. It feels good. And I don't know why, like, I'm not normally the person that needs permission to do stuff, but I've been holding on to stuff for not wanting to hurt people's feelings. And she just gave me permission to stop doing that. And I can't wait to get rid of so much stuff. And which that's part of, I don't know if you saw on one of your, you posted about slow cooker. I'm like, you want my crock pot? I am getting rid of my crock pots.
I have a crock. Oh, I would take it for the lake house. Yes.
I have a big roaster one, and I have like a smaller.
I would use them at the lake house. I'll make you dinner at the lake house with it.
Okay. And just that right there, like, I will look through all of my kitchen stuff to see if there's anything else that you need up at the lake house. Cause I'm like, I don't need this thing. Like, no, it's got to go. It's going to free up. It's going to free up so much energy in my life. So I'm super excited. If anybody out there knows me and thinks I have something that I might be purging that you want, just let me know, because it's all got to go. I'm just looking forward to that freedom that it's going to create for me.
So, my thing about letting stuff go is I always am worried about, what if I need it one day? Because I've had that happen. I have gotten rid of stuff. I have gone through, because like we were talking in our previous interview, something happens after you give birth and you kind of go a little crazy. And sometimes right before you give birth, you get a little crazy. And a few times after my kids were born.
Sometimes not birthing anything ever makes you a little crazy.
Yeah, it's true too. And I've gone through and just completely gone on these kicks when Nick's been at work and just thrown ish away, completely just thrown it away. And then a year goes by and he's like, hey, where's blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't know. Did you give it to someone? I don't know. I'm like, crap, I think I threw that away. That's the worst.
Hey, most of the stuff, if you got rid of it and you really need it again in the future, you can get it. We waste so much money on so much other stuff. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal.
All right. Well, let me know how the book is. Maybe I'll have to read the book. It might convince me.
Well, and when you said book, I've already given away 2 books. There will be lots of books that will be leaving my life. Yes, I've done a book purging once before, but I'm going to purge books at a whole new level after reading her book.
Because I'm never going to have time to read all these. Let's be real.
No, of course not.
Dust. I know. Oh gosh, now you're motivating me, Julietta. Thanks.
I like it. All right. We got to start the show. We got to bring on our guest.
Yes, we do. Okay. Hey, Lucie. Thank you for joining us today. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. It's so great to connect. As we were chatting beforehand, I'm way north of you guys. You guys are in Florida. I'm way up in Nova Scotia, Canada, but I'm also on the ocean. So,
yay. I got to go up there sometime. I keep hearing how beautiful it is. So, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience? Tell them a little bit about you and what you do.
Well, my name is Lucie Quigley, but I go by the handle Lucie Q because even after almost 30 years, saying Lucie Quigley is a bit of a tongue tie for me. I know, go figure. I am a podcaster as well. I have a show called The Roller Coaster, which is designed for midlife moms. And I also have a soon to be released guided journal called Your Journaling Journey. And all of this came about from my worst day. And I think we're going to touch on that later on in our conversation. I've been married for over 28 years to my husband. We've actually been together for over 30 years now. And we have 2 adult sons that are 20 and 23.
Wow.
Awesome. I love it.
I'm curious, because Allison and I live in Florida, but she's from Michigan. I'm from Wisconsin. So we're from the north, but I'm curious how different Nova Scotia is compared to.
Well, Nova Scotia is a little bit better in the winter time. I mean, we do have all 4 seasons, which I love. I love spring, I love fall, I love summer. I don't love winter. I really don't. I'm done with winter. And in fact, as I mentioned earlier, we're actually planning on spending January through March somewhere in Florida because we're done. Our kids don't live with us anymore. So it's like, hey, we've got 2
when
cats.
You're down here, we'll have to connect.
Yeah. I don't know. You guys are in Fort
Lauderdale.
Yeah.
So
I think we were kind of looking at Naples. I don't want to be in like a high touristy area.
Yeah.
But then finding those short term furnished accommodations are a little harder to find if you're not in a touristy area. So I'm not sure how that's going to work out.
You should check out like north of Tampa or like St. Petersburg area.
We're sort of tossing around where we might go. But I actually grew up in our nation's capital, Ottawa. And it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. You go from winters we're in Celsius here. Your winters can be minus 40 with snowbanks higher than me because you run out of place to put the snow. And then you go all the way into the summertime with ridiculous humidity, plus 40 with humidity. It's gross. You have like that brief period. You have a brief period in spring and in fall where it's pleasant, but the rest of it, no, thank you. I'm done.
No, I was up in, I happened to be in Michigan this last weekend. I just got back yesterday and we were up in the northern part of the Lower Peninsula. And we were on a lake called Lake Charlevoix. And we were driving around and my husband and I were talking about, it is really beautiful up here. Like summertime is gorgeous. The weather's beautiful. It was like 78, 80, during the day, completely gorgeous out. But all I could keep picturing in my head was how ridiculously cold it would be in the winter. I was like, no, can't do it. I mean, I could envision the bare trees and the gray sky and the constant snow and the wind blowing. And I was like, no, can't do it. I could come here for summertime anytime, but not during the winter.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in a sense, I hibernate in the wintertime. I don't like winter sports. I don't like going out in the cold. I just leave me at home with my blanket, my glass of red wine.
Weather all day, and weather's just weather. What we really want to know, Lucie Q, is what is one book that you wish every goddess would read and why?
Okay, this is going to sound really odd because with this book/movie, I have a love-hate relationship with, but it's The Secret. And the reason why I love this book is because it was really, if I was to put a pin in the map, it was the start of my journey of self-discovery and learning, all of our great potential that we all have. But I also hate it because it really oversimplified some of the concepts like gratitude and the law of attraction. And there, the ask, believe, receive was very, it didn't give you the full picture, but it's a good first step if you're looking at dipping your toe in. It introduced me to some fantastic new thought leaders that I still listen to their stories and their lectures today. So love it, hate it, there's still some gems in there for everybody.
Absolutely. And that came out, I was well on my journey when that came out. And so the people that, I had around me in that realm love to criticize the book and be like, it's too simple. It's not, and my point was always, this is a perfect starting point for people who have not gotten on the journey yet. And its simplicity is perfect for somebody who is starting out, that, is starting from ground zero. It is perfect. So for that, I am grateful that book exists, because I have recommended it to a cajillion people. Either read the book or watch the movie. It doesn't matter which you do. But if you're ready to start on that journey and you're, starting at ground level, it's the perfect book, movie to start with. So yes,
it is. And some of the concepts, if they were to explain them in their full detail, it would be too overwhelming. People would be like, no, that's it. Not interested.
Exactly. Love that. All right. Our second question for you, because women in general, we've all been there where we've burnt ourselves out because we forget to take care of ourselves. And it's super, super important. So to help support everybody, we are asking everybody, what is your favorite self-care practice and how does it support you?
I can definitely relate to the pitfalls of not practicing self-care. I did not even start to believe in self-care until my mid-40s, and I paid the price. But for me, the number one tool that I've used for my own self-care and also in my own growth journey is journaling. It's very cathartic. I joke, it's like vomiting all of the junk and muck on a page just to get it out of your head so it's not spinning around constantly. It also gives us a chance to explore our feelings. We can become curious, and we can also find inspiration.
Absolutely. Love
Yeah,
it.
journaling's like my favorite. I love it because I love it too. Like you said, it's almost cathartic. And for me, it's even just that pen to paper feeling, the way it feels as I'm
Yes.
writing is like, I don't know, it's weird. It's like it's like scratching that itch that, I don't know.
And pen to paper is very different
Mhm.
from just typing on a computer. There's science behind it.
Mhm.
I'm not going to get into it all. I'm not an expert on that. I just know there's a massive difference between picking up that pen and that journal versus just tapping away on a keyboard.
Yeah.
It's a totally different experience.
Yeah, I love it. All right. Our next question for you is, so we all have those days where we've got a full schedule ahead of us, but we wake up and we're like, ugh, just not feeling it. Maybe we had a bad night's sleep, whatever, got an argument with a loved one, whatever it is. What do you use to still be able to show up when you know that you have to, whether it's for clients or friends, family, whoever?
Well, being 49 now, the emotional roller coaster that our hormones give us, you can go to bed feeling perfectly fine and wake up and you're a hot mess. There's just no other way to describe it. And I've had those really, really bad days. But because of everything that I've learned about myself and because of where I am in my journey, I'm able to look at it as just that. It's a bad day. It's a bad hour. It's a bad minute. It's a bad second. And that's it. It doesn't define what comes next. But I think that we also have to be compassionate towards ourselves. And if you're just not into it, you have to be okay with saying, not today. You have to be okay with canceling that appointment. If you're not going to show up as your best for somebody, then cancel it. We're all human. And I think the more that we can show our own humanity to one another, the more other people are going to mirror it back to us. And I think that's the key, is just knowing when you're at your limit, respecting and honoring it, and just saying, not today.
I love that. And it's a tough one for a lot of us to get okay with. But I also love when you say, if I do it, everyone else gets to see it, and then they become okay with doing it. And then it starts becoming the norm. We've been in this culture where we just push to our limits. And that's like become what's expected of everybody. And I think we need to make the new norm that we are all kind and compassionate with ourselves, and that we take care of ourselves, and it's okay not to push 24/7.
And that constant push, that's that masculine energy. That's that patriarchal society that we're all butting our heads against. And really, if you look at society in general, the pendulum is starting to swing more towards that feminine energy and changing the way we do things. And I think we have to be vulnerable and find our own courage and saying, like, I'm not okay today. I just got to go take care of me.
Absolutely.
I love that. All right. Our next question for you is, and there could potentially be many, but we're just going to talk about one right now. What is a one life event that really has impacted where you are today and what your journey, where you're at?
This is a doozy one. I can trace everything back. And it goes back to when I was 44. It was my worst day for a whole variety of different things. It was the perfect storm. And I hit my rock bottom. And, when I looked at my life at the time, it just felt like everything was in shambles. And I was lost. I was hurt. I was broken. I was all of those things. And for a few seconds, I did contemplate ending it all. I was that far down. I call it scraping the bottom of SHIT barrel, because that's where I felt that I was. But I also realized in those same few seconds that I realized that ending it would only pass my problems on to my husband and my kids. And what's that going to do? That's just, putting the burden on somebody else. So I dug deep and I started to think about, well, if I don't want to be this person anymore, if this is not the life that I want to be living, then who do I want to be? And it was then that my entire life opened up. That's where, I spoke earlier about reading The Secret. I had read The Secret probably, or watched the movie 2 to 3 years beforehand. And one of my frustrating points was because I couldn't make it work for me, because I didn't have the whole picture. And that sort of added to my feelings of just being, a big fat loser, was because I can't even make the simple concept work for myself. I've listened to all of these leaders and look how far I've fallen down. But I was able to find the strength to pick myself back up. And that's where I really began my practice of journaling. That's where I began my whole journey of self-discovery. And now I can look back and see that my worst day was actually my greatest gift.
Beautiful. And it's a message. I mean, yeah, there's that really difficult day, but we all have difficult moments. And I'm always telling people there is a gift in that. And it's hard to see it when you're in the middle of the muck, but when you get out on the other side, you're going to look back and go, thank God that happened, because I wouldn't be where I was today if it wasn't for that moment. So,
and it's in those challenging moments now that, I encourage anybody to stop and ask themselves, what am I meant to learn from this? What is that silver lining? That sure, there's this darkness, but what's the light side of it? Everything has its opposite. And I think, where you find the truth is when you dig in and you ask yourself those difficult questions.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
It's really the whole reason why I'm doing everything that I'm doing. It eventually led me into creating my podcast and, the whole journaling practice. I don't know how many times I sat there staring at a blank page, But I created a system that now makes it very easy to journal. And I've started to share that in my soon to be released book.
That's awesome. I love that. And first of all, I love the fact that you are vulnerable and shared that, because there's definitely somebody in our audience that needs to hear that, to know that they're not alone. Because you're our second guest that I can think of that has shared getting to that, that deep, those depths, as an adult woman, not as a young person. Because, you usually hear that coming from like young people, 20s, teenagers, and I love that you've turned it into this whole thing with your podcast and with that midlife kind of time. Because it is a weird, we're both over 50. Yeah. It's a weird time. Like, there's no doubt about it. And I don't care if you're married, single, have kids, no kids, working, not working. It does not matter. When you hit that time of life, it's just weird.
It is. And the thing is that there aren't that many resources out there for women. Sure, here in Canada, everybody thinks that we have free healthcare. No, we don't.
I know.
No, we don't.
I know. I love how people mess that. They're like, we'll just go to Canada and get free healthcare. I'm like, I don't understand.
And even something as simple as having a family doctor and being able to discuss something like your hormones, it doesn't exist. So I think that we have to go back to that, that old circle of wisdom where elders are sharing their experiences with the youngers, so that, they're learning from us and we're not suffering. And, it's a mutual relationship and we all learn and grow together. That's where we have to start swinging the pendulum to. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. So that leads me into my final question for you is, if you would want our audience to take one thing away from our time together today, what would that be?
That you are perfect exactly as you are. I know it's in that darkest day of mine, it could have been very easy to look at all of my imperfections, but we're all perfectly perfect in our own way. And, wherever you are, if you need to reach out, if you need to talk and say, or even wave and say, hey, I'm where you were, reach out to somebody. You're not alone.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we as women think we have to, we've got something to prove that we don't. Again, I think that's that masculine and feminine. Like, we're trying to keep up with the masculine side of things, and we don't have to act like anything's. We're fine. We can handle it. You know what I mean? But the reality is that we all need help at some point. We need that support system, and it's so critical. So I agree with you. If you have to, ask somebody, there's someone out there that can help. So
there is. Absolutely.
I love it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Lucie. It has been fantastic having you on the show. And I'm sure that there are women out there that got an important message today that they needed to hear. So thank you so much.
It has been my absolute pleasure joining you today.
Also want to send a huge thank you out to our sponsor, Healing Vibrations, Rebecca Schaefer. She's amazing. Check her out. And thank you also to our audience for joining us and listening in. Without you, there'd be no reason for us to be here. And if you want to get in touch with Lucie Q, Allison, or myself, check out the show notes. Our contact information, etc., is available there. And with that, I want to wish everybody a magical day.